After Effects CS 5.5 has also gained some nice new utilities to make it easier to work with cameras in After Effects. If you have creating motion graphics for CS5, I'm still in the example project for Chapter 14 on cameras, and I open up the project EX01 Final that has a little fly around some objects on stage. I'm going to go ahead and switch out to two views, horizontal, so I can see a top view and my active camera side by side. It's kind of hard to see all my objects here in this top view, so I'm going to go ahead and select it and go to View, Look at All Layers. This will zoom back a little bit and allow me to see my camera in addition to all of these different layers I have in my world. I'm going to go a little bit later in time to where I have a nice angle in all my layers, such as around here. And I'm going to take my camera, type AA, enable the depth of field blur, and crank up the aperture so I've got some nice depth of field going on. Now you saw before that I could scrub the focus distance to set who is in focus. I go ahead and drag it out to where the text layer is. You see it becomes in focus. Scrub it back to where now this foreground gear is in focus. Keep going to this gear off to the left is in focus, or push it back to where the video wall is in focus as well. This takes a bit of scrubbing and frankly a bit of guesswork. Well, After Effects CS 5.5 has some ways to make this easier. I'm going to set this to a nicer iris shape for now, just to get a nicer look. Let's say that I indeed want this gear to be in focus. I'll select that gear, then Command or Control click on the camera so that both my camera and my target layer are selected at the same time. Then I'll go to the menu item for Layer, down to Camera, and say Set Focus Distance to Layer. And immediately that layer snaps into focus. It automatically calculates the right distance for me for the center of it to be in focus. I can go ahead and change and say, let's make this text layer our focus. I'll pick the text layer, Command on Mac, Control on Windows, click on Camera, so both my target layer and the camera are selected. Very important. And go to Camera, set focus distance to that layer, and now the text is in focus. Now that particular menu command is a one-shot deal. It sets the focus distance once. As my camera animates around the scene, things may fall in or out of focus. Let's say that I always want a particular item to be in focus. I have a couple of choices there. I can go ahead and pick that item, such as, say, this gear right here. Select that, Command or Control click the camera as well, go to Layer, Camera, Link Focus Distance to Layer rather than Set. That says create an expression that will constantly recalculate how far away that layer is and set the focal plane to make sure that layer is in focus. So as I'm far away, it's in focus. As I'm very close, it's in focus. And through the entire panning shot, that layer stays in focus and is automatically updated by this expression. Very nice. I'll undo. Let's say that I've already set my point of interest to be at the item that I want to be in focus. Another option is to select the camera just by itself and choose Layer, Camera, Link Focus Distance to Point of Interest. When I do that, it automatically writes an expression to follow that point of interest even if it's animating. So that's another option to make it easier to decide who gets to stay in focus during an animation. And I'll undo to disable that.